Next, Eugene will explain his formulation of gouache paint.
In all paint formulations, we start with a pigment grind or a pigment wet out. And I usually prepare a solution of methyl cellulose. Very simply, the amount of methyl cellulose required, stir it into hot water and maintain an occasional stir until the water has cooled down. Okay. Right, we keep stirring that until it is cool, and this is how it will finish up. So that's our grinding medium. Higher solutions, higher than 2%, make very handy collages, like glues for collages. And also, of course, higher solutions make for thicker paint, so it's a paint thickener. A gouache is a paint which is supposed to finish flat and matte. So therefore we have to formulate the paint accordingly. Formulating paint is a matter of guesswork, educated guesswork. In this case we're starting off with 30 ml of this methyl cellulose solution. And we put in a certain amount of retarder, about 10 ml of retarder, which is a propylene glycol. This will ensure that the paint has enough time in its drying stages to even out the brush marks. Because we are going to use some extended pigments, we need to have a little bit of a wetting agent to make sure those pigments are thoroughly wet. And we'll put them in first. This is precipitated silica. Precipitated silica has a very high demand on the medium, and that will make sure that the paint will dry very matte, because there's going to be a lot of loss of moisture. Then the other ingredient is the calcium carbonate or calcite, and that is the opacity medium for the gouache. All that we need now is the colour. The colour, of course, the amount of colour required depends from pigment to pigment. This particular case, we are looking for about 15 milliliters of the dispersion. This initial wet out is pretty important before we get to the mulling stage. So that is the pigment mixed in with it, and we placed it on the table ready for our mulling. Just for a demonstration, that will do.
For manual pigment grinding, we use a glass muller and slab. The pigment slurry is subjected to the shear forces between the muller and the slab. This breaks up the pigment agglomerates so that each particle can be wetted by the medium. The longer we grind, the finer the pigment dispersion will become. After the grinding is completed, the pigment paste is collected in a suitable container where the binder and the final additives will be added.
Well, we've got enough here to complete the demonstration, and all that is really missing now is the binder. And we have a choice of two binders, the two binders we looked at before. That is acrylic emulsion for a waterproof binder, or the polyphenol alcohol, which is the water-soluble binder. The acrylic emulsion has at least twice the binding power as the polyphenol alcohol, so therefore you would use twice as much polyphenol alcohol compared to the acrylic emulsion. Simply take some of the mold gouache formulation in a container, add the appropriate amount of binder. The exact formulas are of course in the handbook, and stir the two together. All that you need to complete this and to give it a good shelf life, of course, is a little drop of the preservative, and the gouache is ready to put into a container. When you're using acrylic emulsion, it is better to drop just a little bit of ammonia solution in the ground pigment to assure that we don't have a shock. It's potential acidity in the mixture there, which is neutralized with the ammonia solution, so it's definitely on the alkaline side of the pH. So that's the gouache.